All right, let's dive into a pretty huge idea today, one that could totally flip the script on how we use cloud computing. We're asking a big question. Can we finally, truly break free from being stuck with just one cloud provider? Let's get into it. I mean, think about it. It's a question that a ton of developers and companies are wrestling with. You pick your cloud. Maybe it's AWS, maybe Azure, maybe GCP, and you start building. It's great. But then, after a while, you realize moving your apps, your data, your whole setup, it feels next to impossible. You are, for all intents and purposes, locked in. And hey, this isn't just a hunch. It's a very real thing that researchers have pointed out. A team from UC Berkeley nails it here. They talk about these custom tools and something they call data gravity, the sheer weight of your data, making it incredibly tough and expensive to even think about switching. But what if we could change the game completely? What if you could look at all the different clouds, not as separate islands, but as one single massive resource, a vast open sky of computing where you could just pick and choose the best of everything for any part of your job without getting tied down? Well, that's the whole vision behind Sky Computing. So to really appreciate just how big a deal this solution is, we first got to get a clear picture of the problem. We're talking about the walled gardens that really define the cloud world as we know it today. So let's break it down. What is cloud lock-in? Well, it's kind of this perfect storm, right? You've got tools that don't work with each other, unique services you can't get anywhere else, and these punishing fees just to move your own data out. It all works together to make moving from, say, AWS to GCP a gigantic headache. It's designed to keep you put. And why is this such a problem? Well, for starters, if your one and only provider has a massive outage, so do you. You've got way less power to negotiate on pricing. And this one is huge. You can't just go and use a super specialized service from another cloud, like Google's awesome TPUs for AI, even if it's the absolute best tool for your task. It really just stifles your freedom and your ability to innovate. Okay, so this is where the big idea really starts to take shape. Instead of just living inside these walled gardens, Sky Computing says, hey, let's just tear down the walls and create one big open sky for everyone. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Isn't this just multi-cloud? And that's a fair question, but not quite. See, multi-cloud today usually just means you're running different separate apps on different clouds. Sky Computing is way more ambitious. We're talking about running one single application that stretches across multiple clouds all at the same time, finding the absolute perfect home for every single piece of the job. And this amazing vision, it's not just a theory anymore. Those researchers at UC Berkeley actually built a tool to make it happen. It's called SkyPilot, and it basically acts as a smart broker for all your cloud jobs. Honestly, the best way to wrap your head around SkyPilot is to think of it like a really, really smart travel agent. You don't walk up to a travel agent and say, I need seat 24B on this specific flight. No way. You just tell them where you want to go, what your budget is, and when you need to be there. SkyPilot does exactly that, but for your code. From your perspective, the process is incredibly simple. You just tell it what you need. Hey, I need a V100 GPU for this task. That's it. SkyPilot's optimizer then goes to work, scanning all the clouds in all their regions to find the cheapest and most available option right now. It considers everything, the cost per hour, the cost to move data around, to find the actual best deal. Then it just sets up the machine, runs your code, and handles all the messy details for you. So that all sounds great in theory, but does it actually work in the real world? Well, let me tell you, the results are pretty wild. Take a look at this. For a pretty standard natural language processing pipeline, running the whole thing only on Azure cost $165. But by letting SkyPilot do its thing and orchestrate the job across multiple clouds, that cost just plummeted to a little over $33. That is an 80% savings. It's just wow. So how in the world did it do that? It basically cherry-picked the best of the best from everyone. It used Azure for its special secure computing features at the start. Then it shipped the data over to GCP to use their blazing fast TPUs for the training part. And finally, it moved the finished model to AWS for their super cheap, specialized hardware for the last step. One job, 3 clouds, and just maximum efficiency. And it's not just about the money. It's also about speed and just getting stuff done. Check this out. For a bunch of bioinformatics jobs running on cheap spot instances, the old school single region way took 32 hours to finish because jobs kept getting interrupted. SkyPilot, with its freedom to just move jobs to other regions when things got busy, finished everything in just 16 hours. It literally cut the project time in half. The reason it was so much faster? A five-fold drop in jobs getting booted off the system. Because SkyPilot had the freedom to roam across regions, and even across whole other clouds. It could just dodge the traffic jams that would normally stop a single cloud application dead in its tracks. This is all incredibly impressive, but for this to be a true revolution, it can't just be about making the big three cloud providers play nice. The whole sky has to be open for everybody. Which, of course, brings up a super important question. Is this a system that can only work with the massive, feature-packed giants like AWS, Azure, and GCP? Or can smaller players get in on the action too? The SkyPilot team decided to find out. They decided to integrate Lambda Cloud, a smaller company that's totally focused on providing low-cost GPUs for AI jobs. We're talking sometimes up to 5 times cheaper than the big guys. For jobs that need a lot of GPU power, this is a massive deal. Now, this wasn't exactly a walk in the park. Lambda Cloud has a much simpler setup. It didn't support basic features like tagging your machines or automatically stopping them. But, and this is the really cool part, the team just came up with these clever workarounds. They stored the metadata on the user's own computer and made the optimizer smart enough to know which clouds could handle specific requests, like auto stop. It proves the whole model is flexible enough to bring all kinds of providers in the fold. So when you put all of this together, you start to see the outline of something much, much bigger. We could be looking at a fundamental change in the entire cloud market. What Sky Computing really creates is a true open marketplace for computation. All of a sudden, cloud providers can't just rely on locking you into their system anymore. They actually have to compete on the things that matter to you: price, performance, and having the best tool for the job. It could let smaller, specialized clouds really shine by just being the absolute best at one specific thing. It's a really powerful vision, one that puts the power squarely back in the hands of the user. Instead of being stuck in one company's garden, you get access to the entire open sky of computing. So maybe the real question isn't if your next big job will fly in the sky, but when.